Dixie Doggers TV presents. We're fueled by Showtime dog food. If you want your stud dog, your kennel, or your business advertised at the beginning of this, just like you're hearing now, you can contact us at dixiedoggers01@gmail.com or call 205-388-2558.
Yeah. All right. Now we got everything on. We're going to get started. We're coming to you live from the dog pound downtown. So I got some buddies of mine here. I've been knowing them pretty good while. And I really think a lot of them. And the thing about it is, Keoki is not originally from here, originally from Hawaii. So they've got a lot of interesting ways that they've done things there, and he's took some of that stuff and brought it here to the States and, try to make it all work on the hog dog stuff. So introduce yourselves. This is my friend Keoki.
Keoki Figgeroa, Bully.
Vann Figgeroa.
And where y'all live at now?
Brilliant, Alabama.
Brilliant, Alabama.
Brilliant, Alabama.
Originally, where are you from?
From Hawaii, born and raised on Maui. Moved to the Big Island just when he was about 2 years old, and started hunting. And I probably should dedicate this to my uncle Wilford. He just passed away a couple weeks ago, and that was the cowboy, the hunter that taught me a lot, and that man was crazy. He was crazy. We hunted a lot off of horseback because that's why we were cowboys, and he lived right there on the forest line. And
a lot of people don't think about the cowboy side when it comes to Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Or even further down, like South America. And that's a big thing. There's more cowboys there than
there's a lot. We got Parker Ranch. That's probably one of the 6 or 7 largest privately owned ranches. And it's right there in Hawaii. And we knew a lot of cowboys, and we had the privilege to get on there, work cattle with them, and also hunt. So but for my uncle Wolford, like I said, I dedicate this to him. And awesome. He was crazy, where he would tell us, get up at 4:00 and let's go, and he meant it. I mean, he was one that was always on schedule, and it was crazy because when he wouldn't go because he was busy or he didn't want to go, he would say, "All right, you take my blue dog," and that was a blue leopard Catahoula, and that dog was amazing. Came from the mainland somewhere. Took him there, but he was a one-man dog. Catahoula, they one-man dog. And he was pretty unique, and that dog, he wouldn't lie. He would tell on you. And my uncle would say, you guys go out there, take the coats, go ride. That dog will find you on the hole. You better get good help dogs. So I said, all right, I got good help dogs. She said, we're going to see because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Old Blue, he's going to find that hole, bail. And when your help dogs go in, he's going to leave and he's going to come home. So I going to know when you guys caught a pig.
Because he's coming back.
He come back home. And he won't come home until he gets in the hole because that mountain is flooded with pigs. So we would go, and I hear the Catahoula. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I said, hey, I tell my cousin Derek, hey, let's go. Let's take the dog. Get off, tie the horses. Well, my uncle told us before we leave, now you take the good stud, and then you take the young coat, and you make sure you put that dog on that horse's saddle and ride home on that coat. We got to make them broke. I said, all right. So we get off, me and my cousin, we tie them up. We run down there, and oh, nice boy. So I go in there, and I was young. I was probably 15 years old. Get his 22 mag. My uncle only gave us two bullets. He said, you can't get him with the first one, get him with the second. After that, you don't belong having a gun. So I got you. So, he was like, you got your cowboy rope, figure it out. I said, all right. So we go over there. And I think that boar there, that was one of our first ones. I remember we grabbed him. He was in the river falling on a rock. So I think we roped him and we got him. So we killed this boar and we dragged him back out and get him back to the horse. I looked at my cousin and I said, we fixing to get our butt whooped. He said, You know what Daddy said? I said, what? You got to put him on the horse. So I get on this horse and it's tied. I'm like, all right, pass me that hog. And he passes that thing up just as that pig just coming up. He cow kicks my cousin. Flips up the down. He said, man, this horse ain't going to let us put that hog on his back. I said, well, I mean, what are we going to do? He said, let me take my shirt off. We blind that sucker. We blind his eye. Pick him up. We put him right on the cavity. And then he said, you ready? I said, I'm ready. So he unties my horse. He gets on his horse. And we dally on the horn. He said, all right. So he reached over and he takes this shirt off. That pig, that went flying. I got bucked off. I think I got bucked off 3 times that day, all the way home until. But that was what we did growing up. Was riding coats, hunting, and we had to bring them home on the young horses. But yeah,
that's a totally different experience than probably 90% of hog hunters will ever get.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's where you'll get that experience like that.
Yeah. But things like that, and like the dogs there, we use, I would say, Catahoula crossed with Border Collie, little bit Pit Bull in them.
Mm.
Just because you got the Catahoula with the nose, the Border Collie for the working part of it, and then a little bit of the aggressive from the pit. Yeah. But it was on all around dog. We would always train them to work cattle, and then also versatile, not just straight hog
not
dogs.
Just hog dogs.
And then you got those hunters that was straight up hog hunters. And I had some buddies out there that they brought in plots from over here. But again, I learned a lot about the Catahoulas and the plots from when I came up here, because the guys in Hawaii, they didn't know. Like over here, you get your pinned Catahoulas, and then you get your plots that is bird. Yes. So they didn't
know the difference.
Yes. So now, like I said, that's we learned a lot here. But back in the day, they just I got one Blue Merle Catahoula from Hawaii, and I mean, it could be somebody's nothing, but they tried it, but they made their own dogs. You know what I mean? They train them, and it's different. Like growing up with my Uncle Wolford, we hunted. We call it mountain pasture. We had a lot of sugarcane hunting because the sugarcane that was part of the industry. But then the hogs would come off of, because you got to understand, Hawaii ain't like here.
So
we don't
that's what I was going to.
We don't have the 4 seasons. We don't have the 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's
like
pretty much 75. Nice. 65, 75 normal. Nighttime, if you live up in the mountain, gets down to the low 40s, whatever. Just all depends. But what I'm trying to say is, and then we don't have all the seasons, and we only have certain type of fruit trees. So certain areas only grow certain type of trees. That pigs might be fatter. Now you get the dry side of the island. Those side, very minimum feed. So they plow a lot of the cow manure, get the worms and whatnot.
Yeah.
Smaller boars, bigger tusks. If anybody knows anything about Hawaii, you're not gonna get big pig. You're gonna get big tusk.
Yeah.
So.
But now, like if you get to the rainforest side of it, they're not gonna be 300 pounders, but they're gonna be 200, 250. They're gonna have meat, but they're not gonna have near as much teeth. They'll still have big teeth. Whereas, like we would call them the ranch pigs. Ranch pigs would be, like Dad said, 9,500 pounds, but they'll have curl backs 3.5 inches, 4 inches.
That's crazy.
They'll be this tall. They won't be tall pigs. Be little out there, and they'll wreck your stuff.
And that's why, like, a lot of the ranchers there and a lot of the old timers, I would say nobody has money. So, in general, we all work every day.
That's a food source too.
And then
for Hawaii, like the wild hog, that's a big food source.
And that's what I was trying to get at is you think everybody get big families in Hawaii. Money is like everything else, everybody trying to make a living. Well, you don't want vet bills. So the old timers, 2 dogs, like Pineapple's granddad. We didn't have an opportunity to hunt with him. I knew him, he knew him, but his mama's dad would cross. I don't know if you ever heard of lemon drop pointers. Lemon drop pointers with on straight up healer. A lot of back end bite and nose and silent. And he take a 12 gauge and he shoot. They don't like teeth on pig because it's a food source.
Yeah.
So in Hawaii, growing up, if we catch anything small, grab them, castrate them, earmark them, turn them back loose.
Yeah.
Never kill nothing, over here they call them bars. Hawaii we call them laholes. And you just replenishing and making your pigs better.
I bet that's what them pigs was saying when you was cutting them nuts out.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Like, holy shit, yeah. But, I mean.
That's the same, the same held true here for years, decades.
Yeah.
Certain areas it still is because there's a lot of people that in certain parts of the country here, you can still castrate, mark your pig, turn them out, and keep them as a viable food source.
Yeah.
And they've made it illegal in our state, and several others. And I think, I just don't agree with that because I understand the epidemic that the pigs cause, but every county where we're at is already populated. The damage is done now. So hey, take those regulations off and let us use them as a food source, and there'll be a lot less outlaw stuff going on because there's a lot of it that goes on because I mean, if you're going to hunt at all, you have to. I mean, literally, you have to, especially this time of year. There's just not much to do. But as somebody like yourself, and the way it still happens in Hawaii, like I said, that's a big thing. Nobody's like you told me a story about them giving you a hard time because you had stabbed a pig. You're like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? It's like they don't know that you have to. You have to do it. And there, it's like, hey, let's cut them, let's bar them, let them grow big. It's more food
because it's a free grocery store.
Yes.
It's so living off the land. In Hawaii, that's what they do.
There, everything. You fish for your food. You hunt for what you need, and that's why, a lot of times, I remember Dad growing up, he ran a lot of rough dogs growing up. Well, when you'd get there and you'd catch them, 50 to 100 pounders, even sows, they'd be eat to crap. You couldn't turn them back loose. And I remember him always catching slack because of that, and then when he started, when I brought me up in it, I remember having rough dogs, and I remember him turning loose 7, 8, 9 at a time, and when you'd get there, pigs would be chewed, dogs would be ripped. I mean, I remember one dog who was hunting a tournament. I was like, 30?
Yeah, 20,
from head to toe.
Just everywhere.
And just so rough.
Well, you got to think now. Back in the day when he was young, he was probably for we had no cut gear. I mean, we were poor, so what I had like cowboy friends that had leather shops. And we would measure 4 inches, and we would make them out of leather. And then I would go get the outdoor carpet, the green one, and I would put them inside. And this guy would stitch them all. And we had the regular barrel, and we also back in the day they call them butterfly. So on one side it would come up for the rougher dogs and protect their jaw. But that was to the most extent that we had as far as protection.
You couldn't go down there.
I've got a vest back there, and I just thought about that. It's one of the very first ones that'll ever be. If we take a break or something, I'll get it and show it to you. We'll show the people too. It's like a blanket. That's it. Yeah. And it's got some little slits in it. You put it one size fits all.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have to wrap it around your damn wiener dog for a while, or you put it on a mastiff, whichever way.
Yeah.
But the cut gear game, I could see where that would be tough over there because, like you just said, it's hard just to get groceries a lot of time. Everything has to be imported because you're on an island.
And you got to think on like another thing. Like growing up, we didn't have tracking collars, nothing. So in Hawaii, because it's the mountain is from up, come down. So you got a lot of over here you call them bluffs and stuff. Us we call them gulches. So it's just gulches that go down. A lot of cliffs. We don't call them bluffs. We call them cliffs. So certain parts of the island is really cliffy, and it's a lot of. And the things with that is with tracking systems, the frequency wave is above. So we had a hard time. So we didn't have it growing up, and then we started with that wildlife one, that big beat. Yeah, and then we had the other one. What is the one? The Maxima, the one that the antenna folds up from the side.
Yeah, just fold up a little bit.
Yeah,
great. So like orange and green or something.
So we had that, but that because of the terrain, it was really. So in Hawaii, we didn't like far ranging dogs. 200 yards would be kind of within what we would want. Steady. You like working dog. Back and forth, left to right, because if the pigs cross over their trails. I remember growing up, anybody that had any far range dogs, they would either get rid of them, or when he comes back, they would have to give him a little come to Jesus meeting. Just because of it's far. If you go far, yes,
get to them.
You can't drive around. It's a forest.
But I mean, and two, the far ranging dogs in Hawaii, not that they're not useful, but the population of pigs there's so many pigs that you don't have to have a far ranging dog, because you can take Mama's Chihuahua and go bay hogs with him, because there's so many pigs, and I mean.
But then it became like here also, where a lot of people wanted to get into it.
So they pressured the hogs.
Well, they just go get any type of dogs, and they didn't want to go be with an old timer and learn.
They didn't finish the hunt.
They wanted to just go take 7 dogs and go take. And what they did was they taught the pigs how to run.
They wanted to be cool.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that happened.
It happens here.
Same thing. Because when I first started, anywhere that had pigs, we'd go and say, okay, the dog's out hunting, and our dogs was 300 yards, 400 maybe.
No.
And we would go up a little bit. They'd work 300 or 400. We'd go up another few hundred. They'd work it. We had a lot of bird dog stuff. Some very similar stuff.
Similar, yeah.
Similar style. But we had the rougher dogs, so that way we just shut them down. We didn't want to go long ways. But then, like you said, after everybody wanted to be a hog hunter, they would just get, a lot of them were getting reject coon hounds.
Right.
And they put them out there.
Listen to them.
Them dogs would run. Just caught, but they never would finish the hunt. And so next time me and you go, we pull up. The hogs are there. They're like, oh shit, here comes the dog. Let's go. And now they're running. And now that's all. Now the evolution has happened. So I mean, if a hog doesn't run, it's a surprise to me.
Yeah, there's a couple guys like on the Big Island where, and till today I see them on Instagram. And this guy's is kind of like how his granddad was, just 1 or 2 dogs. Because there's so many guys out there that take so much dogs and pressure them. He goes back to old school, 1 dog, silent, slip in there, go over there with that 30-30, boom, down,
Is that what y'all did a lot of the bait and shoot?
Yeah.
More than the catch dog?
Well, I did the rough. Now, before I moved here...
Well, that was way back in the 20s and 30s.
Yes.
Then they came out with TV.
Yeah. Joey, you ain't that much younger. So,
our biggest thing was after he run his rough dogs, and I started growing up, we started running more of the cow dog style.
Yeah.
Border Collie, Catahoulas, Kelpies, we had a Catahoula Border Collie we run.
How's the Kelpie stuff? I've heard a lot of good stuff.
They're good.
A lot of drive.
Be interested in one? I had guys got some full-blooded ones, and they're very, very, big top-tier dogs.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have time for any pups. He offered one up, and I was like...
The Kelpies are good.
I was like,
how old are they?
Little puppies.
Oh, they're worth getting.
Seriously, I was like, no, I've always heard.
Yeah.
That's one dog I've never had.
But see, I like the cow dog cross with the hound, because half of your training is already taken care of, because they naturally want to work.
Circle.
Yeah.
They want to work. So,
Dad never took a gun. He took a pocket knife because, back whenever I was right before we moved, and nighttime you're not supposed to, And so, when we'd go, when we'd turn loose is 2 dogs. I remember having a dog named Shallow. She was Border Collie Catahoula. And then we had a German Shepherd Catahoula. Called him Uku. And all they do is bay. And, you know, I remember times being a kid, we wrote 95% of them. You know, because a lot of times they'd bay up, even if they'd bay up out in the pasture, we'd sneak around there, rope them, knock them down, cut them back loose. We never killed them. And I remember us catching 10 or 15 a night, doing it that way, you know. And I mean, we just run them dogs on the road, you know, and the wind would blow from the high elevation down to the ocean and or whichever up, you know. Like what's cool about that one dog, that border collie, you know, we'd catch cows with her during the day and we'd hunt her at night and stuff. But like if we'd be sitting in a truck and if she'd start baying and she'd come back to the truck, it'd be a sow and little ones. And Dad would call it every time.
Really?
And people would be hunting with us, you know, and be like, oh, that dog ain't no good. And Dad would be like, well, there's babies there. And they'd be like, no. Well, then Dad would say, you know, would send her back up there. And she'd go to baying. And when them boys' dogs would get there, you'd hear a bunch of, you know, squealing. It's just because, you know,
See, that dog put the boar hole?
Well, no, because
bigger pigs.
I used to see in Hawaii, we don't like catching small.
Exactly,
it's a food source. So when they catch the babies, you tie the dog up and you spank them with that big, like, you know, you show them no, you know. So, you know,
it's a smart enough dog, though.
She learned, and I tell you what, she would bark, who, and then who, very far in between. And then I just wait. I say, give her 5 minutes. She'll be right back in the truck. They'll be like, there ain't no way. I said, yeah, watch. Here she comes. Because we didn't have tracking system. So here she come. They're like, man, that dog. And she come back and she cowered down. And I was like, don't be cowering down, you know. And I said, you did a good job, you know. And they're like, man, that dog, what? I said, man, there's a solid babies balled up over there. I said, you want to kill babies? They're like, man, there ain't no way.
Send her back
out there. They send their dog. Whee! I said, see. I said, now look, all my whooping on my dog for nothing. Next time, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but she was good, you know. And like I said, the last 3 years, my ex-wife, we was farriers out there, and we had a lot of land that we could hunt, you know. And pasture land. And so
was pastures.
It was amazing. So
is it mostly like on the pasture stuff? You know, I've seen a lot of videos, stuff like that, pictures. Is it more in the mountains, or is it rolled down into flat ground?
Well,
like for where you keep your
everything, you know, all the islands are old volcanoes, so it's all at a gradual slope.
Okay.
You know, now when you get down towards sea level, it flattens out, but it's dry. You know,
so the whole time it's just kind of
it's always a gradual slope. You know, and but I mean that's what like we'd have times. You know, it's like Dad told you stories a couple weeks ago. We had a pasture. What's that one ranch? Like 2,500 acres, and then there was 40,000 around it.
Yeah.
There was times there you'd go and bay 15 or 20 at a time, and when you run 2 or 3 dogs up through there, you know what a sounder's going to do. They gonna chase them dogs. There'd be times you'd be sitting on 4-wheelers and you can hear them. You could hear dogs bay, and then you could hear pigs. What a sounder sounds like. Well,
it's getting louder,
and you'd see them come over hills, and dogs be running back to us, and it looked like a herd of cattle just behind them dogs.
40, 50 pigs.
And I mean, you bait, and then you know, then they'd get bait, and then you look at each other and go, "What are we gonna do now?"
Yeah, you got 50 pigs,
and no catch dogs.
You know what I do? I run, I chase them myself.
Scatter them.
Hey! Start yelling.
Then
so now they hear the human, they scat.
Really?
Then my dogs take off. Then the dogs go back and go catch one or two.
I had some people thought I was kind of crazy one time. We had remember that Houdini dog? We done it. He would stay, but he wasn't rough. That was his only downfall. He needed to be just a little rough, just enough to stop because he would walk and bait. I hated that.
Yeah.
But I promise you, you put him down, it was happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, he stayed bait on hog, and I was like, he's not going to leave. So we leave and we stay gone all day, come back. He's 40 yards from where we started, like 8 hours later, all day. So we need to break the hog. Like what? Make the hog. He was on a different property.
Uh-huh.
Let's go back to that. He was on a different property. Game cameras were about every 100 yards on that line, all the way down through there. I was like, I don't want to get any trouble. I don't want to get nobody else in trouble. Over there on Sun Creek. Remember dude, I was like, they thought I was crazy. I was like, if we break that hog and make him run, we'll get him right over here, and then we catch him. We can do our thing. Yeah. Oh, man, that's crazy. It didn't work. Try it. Just same thing like you said with the sound. I never thought about just doing that. And that's obviously, if I'd have done that, then I could have broke that hog, but we couldn't get the hog to break.
Yeah.
I was on this side around, I was trying to throw stuff, trying to get him, he just wasn't worried about it.
Yeah, no.
But if I'd have done that, if I'd have got him to move, at least get the other dogs to get on him.
Yep.
All I was trying to do was get him off of that property on the ours, because he was a big hog.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, though.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
if y'all hear somebody up there on 13 hollering and
Hooking
screaming,
and hollering, you gotta sound
he's got sound.
You
He's
gotta
got sound.
sound
We're coming, guys.
Hey, I'm coming.
Coming over there. Come
Yeah.
to the cornfield.
That ranch that he was talking about is pretty crazy because one night, I'm not sure if he was with me, but that same two dogs, I hunted that two dogs for like 3-4 years because that's only what I needed because I wasn't killing nothing. Maybe kill 1 or 2 for food that year, but maybe. I mean, I cut a bunch and just let them go. Well, that one night on that ranch, it was pretty cool. Dogs bayed up, and a lot of times they'll bay up in a bull hole where the bull dig the ground,
Yeah.
So they'll sit down there. Well, that night he was bayed up in a bull hole. I went there and he seen me and he broke and ran. So the dogs went silent again, and then I went and then they started barking. But I was like,
oh yeah, I was there. That was one of the last times we hunted.
so we went there and I looked and there was a hole only about this big.
That's what I told you.
And I turned on the spotlight and I shined down and it was on a lava tube and the bull was at the bottom.
So the lava tube.
Oh,
Tell us what that is. Tell people what that is.
I mean, that's
You
just
already explained. It's
that's
like a
just
hole.
one open hole, like
I
on
guess
caves,
Like a mine. Like a mine shaft.
same type, yeah.
It's just naturally,
But yes,
with
Mhm.
lava flowing. I guess gas pockets would make that,
Yeah.
And,
It was crazy.
and
Oh, I had some of them. This
And I mean,
there's some lava tubes at there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. It was bad.
Yeah. Had the smell too.
Joe Dill come in there. Let me tell you. You don't want to get nowhere around that lava tube.
Yeah, but that night, I mean that it was probably 20 foot down. I wasn't gonna go in there. I don't take a gun, only cowboy rope.
Mhm.
My
Now,
dog,
you said the thing.
my dog's cow dog, so I can call them off. But hey,
yeah, if
let's
you can
go.
call them off.
Yeah, and then we walk away.
That's all.
And then
the
we just
dogs.
go catch
We got
another
them
one.
all where you just
Yeah.
and then suckers are just. And
Well, I mean, that's it's one of those deals where if more people would try to take that time and to do that, I've been hunting with some people who have really good dogs.
Mhm.
I mean, and we're blessed to be able to go and
Yeah,
do these things. But man, they don't put the time as far as the discipline part in their dogs. Like,
Yes.
come here, hey, let's go. Load up, call your dog, and they no. They just dogs do whatever they want to do, and I understand it's a high drive dog,
Mhm.
but at the same rate, the dog can still have
They
they can still
understand
mind.
when it's time to go.
Well, it ain't
home.
no different than a Malinois in the police industry.
Exactly.
They're just the highest driven dog there possibly is, but they're just the
Yes.
most handiest.
Exactly. Which there's a lot of guys that they think that they have the highest prey drive dog they've ever seen. It's just because they hadn't seen one.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
think you have one, and I understand, I know I'm probably gonna catch a bunch of shit for this, but if you got a blackmouth cur or a Catahoula cur, mountain cur, for any of these cur type dogs, and it's wound up tight and it's just that's about 1/10 of what a real high prey drive dog
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
When you get one that's short enough high prey drive, it's another level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But they have an off switch.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can make them mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But we just been on so many people. It's like
Yeah.
we catch the hog, the dogs are there fighting and acting crazy
Yeah,
and chewing
it
their
happens.
heads. Like,
It happened.
let's try to.
Well,
As long as you're working on it.
but you know what was
I
crazy?
mean, I try to get on them.
I experienced one thing a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. I went down and fed down in the bottoms, took some girls hunting with me, and my Brenda dog, we hit one first, killed him, he relayed, but he was in the big sloughs. We had to go around. And dogs is funny, and he was there a long time. But this young boar gave him enough fight where he would bay every so often. And now the other dog was with him. She's rough. She catches. Well, by the time we got around, it was probably close to an hour. And when we got there, that buddy dog that normally runs with him, he's kind of a little jerk. Like if there's a new dog or something like that, and I got a new dog from Mississippi, he ain't worth nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He'd rather fight and be on jerk and look at the other dog. I mean, he won't, but he wants to balk up.
Got an attitude. Yeah.
So I like his just brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that night I should have known. Well, he didn't go with that big Brenda of mine. Oh, and that big brindle, when that black dog reached that big brindle, he let go of that pig bull. He grabbed that black dog. The lucky thing I was there. And I went there and he got mad and he tried to whoop that other dog, but I knew why he was doing that because he was like, you should be running side by side with him because they're partners all the time.
Yeah,
and only when I get one new male dog, that black dog, he'll get
so, I mean, like I said, there's times it happens, and ours do it too.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones I'm talking about is like it's every time.
Oh yeah, no.
Even with them, like even if our dogs have that deal go on, they got enough handle that we put on them.
Yeah.
Either you taunt them or you holler at them or you taunt them. 95% of the time, you ain't got a shot. None of them they'll quit. You know, we've got a stag that if he turns, he'll get show enough rough. You know, he'll grab a dog. But you know, it's just that's the discipline. You know, that's where it comes in. It always helps for anybody. You know, in anything. You know, but that's and like too the whole discipline thing. You know. What the big thing about it is now is about tone breaking dogs.
Yes.
You know, I always heard people say that Garmin's was the worst thing for a hog dog. Yeah, I know.
It's the same. And most of it's guys my age. It's our age. Are like, oh, that's the worst thing. It in a way it can be, right. But in a way it's technology. Period.
Yeah.
It's
you know, my generation is where the technology really started to flourish, and it's like I had enough of the old days that I know what the old days were, and I enjoyed that. It was easy, simple, and then you come in all this other stuff. It's like, damn, you don't have the privacy factor and all that, so you're always going to have that lopsided. But honestly, dude, Garmin is probably the best thing.
Well, that thing like you talked about that one dog that you made that dog that hunters made that one dog that way because that's the style they hunted. Well, the old school people that I know about and we talked about it. They say when they say they don't like the Garmin thing, it's because we never think about it. It's like if we get on 4-range dog, back in the day you couldn't call him back. So when they come back, you would discipline them. Well, now. We get Garmin. What we do? They go far. We drive around the road. We go find the dog. Well, we keep hunting. Mm-hmm. So that this is like telling. We just went find where our dog was, and then he said, "Hey, it's okay," and just keep hunting. But again, you hunt one style. I hunt one style. Me, I getting old, fat. I don't like walk too much. I like them close. You know what I mean? I like the dog. Go find them, and I go to them. You know what I mean? But. I mean, it just all depends, Some days you like your dogs hunting, going out there when you got the property. Some days, your property is close. I mean, it just all depends,
That's one thing. That's a big factor.
Yeah.
It's the size of the property.
Mm-hmm. That's what he's talking about, dogs ranging far. We was shooting horses it's back in Hawaii. I remember being a kid, we were shooting horses for this lady, or person. And, remember that foxhound, registered foxhound. Big old black and white tan dog, and he was getting away out of the kennels and going and catching pigs, and he'd come back all ripped up. Well, they gave him the dad. Well, we just got the old beep beep system. We thought we was high cotton.
Shit, you was.
That's it. I don't care how far he goes. We got this old beep beep.
Long range now,
so
boys.
He strapped it on him, and I remember to this day we cut loose. I don't even know how far he went. This son of a went pony underway. I'm talking about gone. Old Dad was out there on the hot spot. Beep, beep, beep. And he'd go, beep, beep. Oh, he's over there.
Yeah.
We stayed out there all day. Dad said, we're going home. So, okay. Next morning I remember being at the road, and we just scanned it from the road. And beep. He's over there.
Oh my God.
Where he's at, he's somewhere
he's over there. Yeah.
And we didn't hunt. We hunted him, and he was good. Long-legged, catch pigs with him. He just went too far. Now, if I had him in this day and time, I love him.
Oh, yes.
Sit here, drop him, and he's going to go as far as he needs to go catch a hog.
Well, that's like I was saying about the high-strung dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had hog dogs at one time. I was like, I got some hog dogs. And then when I got some long ranges, and then when you see one, you're like, oh shit, no, I don't.
No,
like these dogs, when I say they push it, like you said, they just go.
Mm-hmm.
and they're not coming back.
No.
They're not going to come back. And look, good luck. You got to go catch them.
Yeah.
And that's
We
We got a
It's like,
couple of
catch
them that does that
dog,
now,
catch 'em.
and I mean, I don't like toning them back or shocking them because you kind of go knock back the drive.
Exactly.
But if we
You
get,
can hurt. You can ruin.
he hunted
everything.
with a guy down below Tuscaloosa, and that guy said, "Hey," he said, "bring some dogs that gonna go. We got thousands, 10,000 acres, whatever." He said, "Oh, I'll bring my dad's 2 dogs. They'll go all right." And
Shoot, I cut them suckers loose. As soon as we cut them loose, strike a hog, bam. I don't even know what happened. We got the one time we got over there. We got it in close. I mean, a bigger hog, 150, 175 pound hog got over there in close, and we broke the bay. Well, when he struck back out, Dad's dog, he don't quit. He ain't got no quit in him. I think I picked him up. We picked him up 2 miles, and that boy said, he didn't say nothing the first night.
Yeah.
Well, then the next day, he said, "What you gonna bring?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna bring some dogs." And he said, "Man, you got that brindle dog?" I said, "Yeah, I got him." He said, "Holly, we're gonna be chasing him." And it wasn't that night too. We struck a hog, but it was, they run a little more mouthier dog down there, and whenever you get on them hogs down there, they just run and run and run and run and run, and it's like that. There'd be times back. We've got our pack now where we kind of like it, and when we start and trying to get everything back rolling, when we started back hunting, there'd be times where he'd be like, "Man, I want long range dogs. I don't want them to go look." Well, he'd turn them loose, and they'd get about 900 yards. He'd be like, "Man, I hate long range dogs. Why can't they stay close?"
I look at my watch. We're going to go a long night.
I mean, but it's just, and that's what I hunted before I moved down this part of the country. I hunted a lot in Florida.
Yeah.
Tracts of land are small up there. We had a spot, me and a bunch of buddies of mine, we were grateful to have a spot that was one tract. It was 1,500 acres, and we thought we was big wigs up there because we had 1,500 acres to turn loose on. And like when we first started hunting there, the first night, I remember to this day, pulled up, opened the door, and there was pigs fighting at a pond. And it was just like shooting. It was shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you don't have to
easy, easy as it gets. And that's when, the dogs that I was hunting up there, they had to go hunt for hogs. But it wasn't like how down here, where you drop right here, and if you don't have corn out and you're hunting it legit, your dogs might go half a mile, before striking. We're up there.
If they even strike.
You'd strike a hog up there at, 200-300. 200-300 yards, and
half a mile, you done caught 2 hogs.
Yeah, and I mean they wouldn't run near as much. And I even run, I had a Catahoula Walker that was open as it could be, but I stopped a lot of pigs with him. But it was just kind of that style of pig that they weren't, well, as we got to hunting, we killed a lot of hogs off that place. But it just got to the point where whenever before I come here, I had them shorter range dogs. We walk hunted. And we didn't ever, I didn't need the long range dogs because if I have a long range dog, they're going to be off in somebody else's place. I'm having to tone them back, and that's why I run really short range dogs there, walk hunting them and stuff. And Dad was down here. He already had me beat down here because he was already hunting this part of the country. So his dogs were ranging a little further. And it was a huge switch, from going from up there, hunting small tracks and then coming down here where we've got our bigger tracks, and it's crazy how, you've got to train the dogs for your part of the country.
Yep.
But then
and geographical location.
Yeah, it's so different.
When we first started out, we had huge tracks.
Yeah.
There was no hawk hunters with dogs.
Right.
It wouldn't shit to have a 10,000 acre spot. I used to tell people, if you ain't got 5,000, I can't turn loose.
Right.
And people thought I was talking shit. I was like, no, look, you don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have 5,000 acres, we're going to be off of that.
Oh,
if you don't have no pigs,
Mm-hmm.
if you got a lot of pigs, that's fine.
Fine.
Mm-hmm.
But that was and like you said, you had to do vice versa. You started with shorter, rougher dogs, and then grew into it. So I had to take this whole big old thing and bring it down to here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, when you got a dog, you turn loose and he's kicking rocks in your face and going, and then you go from that to he's walking right with you. You know,
Yeah.
shit, you know.
Mhm.
But then that separates it.
Mhm.
Are you a dog man?
If you
Can you make this work?
yeah, switch it up. And that's
Well, like now our pack, we got
What are y'all mostly running now as far as
well.
in your pack? You know?
We got talking about how you can adjust to where we going to hunt. If we can go hunt one spot that is small track, but we don't get pigs, we can take a few dogs that is closer range that going to win and smell
We
track and
more
go.
of our cur dogs.
Mhm.
You know, we like more of the. You know, we've got some Kimmer cur, black mouse, some Catahoula dogs. You know, but now like when he's talking about the longer range dogs, we run. You know, plot like his good dog's a 3/4 plot, quarter bulldog, English working bulldog. You know, so he's 100 plus big
Okay,
dog.
so he's an English bulldog
Yeah, he's
Yes,
the
yes.
working,
or
the big white.
white American bulldog.
No, he's the English, but he's the Andrew Trussell and them brought him in this part of the country.
Well, I mean, the bigger white, they had the standard English dog is, you know, a pretty good size one. The regular English bulldog is one like the Georgia bulldogs, the little short ones.
No, the
that's-
big one.
No,
the
that's
big
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the standard English.
Yes,
But
yes.
The American,
Yeah, the big one. Yes.
that's the big
yes,
dog.
The
yes.
big
It's
wild
the
ones.
American, yeah.
And
Now
that's
those dogs right there,
Mhm.
they I've seen a couple.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of guys are like, oh man, I gotta have a pit and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you get a good American bulldog,
Mhm.
it's very hard to beat. But you know they've been watered down a lot
Well,
through
those-
breeding
the
and
guy
shows
we
and
got them
stuff.
from, he used them for work cows and
Yes.
everything. So,
So you
it's
got
a
them
working line.
from is it
Well,
Andrew
Andrew
Trussell,
Trussell,
you know,
yes.
and they
yeah,
where they
Andrew
hunted
and Wayne.
Wayne,
Yep,
and that's
yeah,
where you
yeah.
know they
Yeah, I know the dogs you talk or the style dogs they
Yeah.
had.
And
Them
the
guys had
bigger-
some dog,
the
big dogs.
bigger dogs, and that's what you know. Dad got his good dog from him. He's 100% silent, but he still got the hound nose to him. But he can.
He's rough.
He can
He can
find
get rough.
bay cat. He can do. You could take him and go catch 200
Whatever you
pounders
want.
by himself.
Mhm.
You know, and I mean, but then I've got a
See, I was
plot.
thinking it was pit. I thought it was. I
No.
thought it was 3/4 plot
Mhm.
and quarter
No.
pit. I didn't know it was American.
See,
bulldog.
he's
That's-
fast, but not extreme.
Mhm.
He's athletic.
Yeah.
His
Very
size.
athletic. But so I got another dog from Andrew and his buddy. He's a half stag, quarter bull, quarter cur, and he runs with. And that's that story we was talking about that Brindle and grab that black. Because when I put them two down and we're hunting with the normal same dogs, he will stick with them and they'll be his own pair. But now, you know, we got the two young pups we were talking about. So now I got four that will long range and stay together, but they all rough, you know.
We try to keep the plot. The plot knows, but we want them quiet. You know,
Yeah.
like I've got a plot. My Jip dog, she's a half plot, half Parker cur. Both mom and daddy was plot and Parker cur. I mean, you know, dead silent until they bay.
Mhm.
We try to we trying to get the plot nose in them, but keep them quiet. You
Yeah,
know,
that's the goal. That's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing that.
I think everybody tries that.
That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And there's so many different breeds that you think would work
Mhm.
and they don't.
No.
You know, so like I mean, you could have say in this instance, say if you done a Catahoula and did a Catahoula and a bulldog. I've had a bunch of Catahoula bulldog crosses,
Mhm.
dead silent
Mhm.
and rough.
Just
I
rough.
mean, just catch dogs.
Mhm.
But I know somebody who has one that opens up on track. It's loose bait. It's like I wouldn't even think that would work.
Caribou, and it's and
You know, I'm like, hey, that's kind of
Mhm.
crazy. And but then and vice versa, like you said, you got the plot and the American or big bulldog,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they're silent. They
dead
got the
silent.
nose.
Yeah.
They're athletic. They got the whole package.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's
Yeah.
really all you need.
Well, and
so
two-
you don't want to change up too much.
You know, in this part of the country too, it's so rough. It ain't flat here
Mhm.
unless you go down south or up north. You know, but like around the house.
And big long thick legs going up them hills.
Well, that's what you know. That's
That
what
changes.
you need the bigger dogs. In my opinion, I think you need the bigger dogs in the rough part of the country, because they've got that bottom to go. You know, and that's what we've had a few straight cur dogs, black mouse. We've tried all of that. The straight Catahoulas, you know. We've tried the purebred deal, and they just couldn't. And and we might not have got the right breeding. That's anybody, but the smaller standard size cur dogs, you know, I feel like we struggle to get pigs stopped here, you know, and that's why like Dad's got that stag dog, we got that big dog, we've got another stag doggo, you know, and people think, you know, them big dogs in this part of the country is not very smart, but I know a few people that's got them around here, and you can catch pigs with them just because they have got stamina. They can, you know, they're tough. They can,
they stick with it. They got the bottom.
You know, and that's what, and you know, and sometimes, and then you know, there's instances, got tongue tied. Incidents where we thought, you know, we needed smaller dogs because the briar thickets. It's fine and dandy if the hogs stand in briar thickets.
If they're in the briars,
but then once they tear, you know, then once they tear out across through there, they ain't got the bottom to stay. You know, it's
well, and some of them, like some of my jags, they got the bottom to stay.
Yeah,
but they don't have the speed to get there as quick as the bigger dogs.
Right.
So, especially the ones that were getting older, that's what we were doing. We'd use them when we get it going, and then the curt dogs would get up there, take over the race, and then if they hit the briars or whatever, here come the little dogs again, getting back up, going again. You know, so that's that's what I was talking about before. Is how do you work it?
Yeah.
How do you make this shit work to where it work all the time and be successful? Besides just having one or two dogs, you know, because if you got like a dog like you got, you take your two dogs, you go anywhere, catch hogs all the time.
My problem with that,
but if you got 10 of them, all of them gonna be like that. That's that's what I'm saying. Once you get that formula, you're cooking.
They gotta be a team, you know, and that's what I think about it is too. You can have a bunch of the same dogs, you know,
they gotta be a team.
But you might, if you cut loose somewhere and you got 3 run this way, 3 run that way, another one's behind you. At that point in time, you might get on hogs on all of them, but then you're scattered.
We ran into that
here
for
and
several. How many years did we run into that? We were putting out really good dogs. Every dog you take was a lead dog. They did. There was no Me Too dogs, no help dogs, no nothing. And there was literally one time we're sitting there and you got 5 of them sit down. And they're a mile apart. Yeah. Half a mile. It's like, why can't y'all just go together?
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, where's this shitty dog at that I need? That all he knows how to do is follow. That's all I need. And or where's the dog that's going to bark once or twice?
Yes.
So I'm like, I went from the 100% silent, will not bark at all to now it's like, if it barks, I don't care. It's like, good. Yeah. Other dogs can go to it. And then, like you said, having a team, we had Hank and King, which they were raised together. They're like your 2 dogs. Well, King, we lost him last year. He got killed. And it's like Hank was lost. Literally. Now, he still does his job.
Yeah.
But it's just like he wasn't. He's starting to get back. He's starting to come back because we put another little dog or 2 with him, and then we're going to figure out which one works best with him to keep him running. Like you said, you got to have a team. You got to have a pack of dogs.
And that's like Dad's deal, you know. Like if I go hunting with him, you know, everybody wants to take their best dog every time they go in the woods. But like that's what we was getting whenever I got her from a buddy of mine, and we was hunting her together with his dogs. You know, she's real independent. So, you know, a lot of times she got cussed because she'd go do her own thing, go a mile this way, and we'd be catching pigs over here when she'd be hunting on her own. And we just got, you know, that's where that aspect of the teamwork deal, it just got so frustrating. So then, you know, we started, now what we do is if he turns his dogs loose, I might take a puppy or 2. Or heck, I might not even take nothing, and I'll just be there, you know. Then, you know, then if I take a bunch of my dogs, you know, we mix our pack, but a lot of times when we mix our pack, it don't ever work like it used to, you know. And I mean, that's the biggest thing.
Or if you get females and they come in heat, then you got to be like, okay, we're hunting all females, you know.
Females.
So, you know, it's
and you was talking about not having like the good dogs. People probably think I'm crazy, you know, but like I love having the top notch dogs that we got turned loose, but I'll probably get slack for this, but the Me Too dogs that stay by my feet, I've had a lot of times when we cut them good dogs loose, and they'd be 700-800,000 yards.
Me Too,
and my Me Too dogs would be finding pigs close.
Yep.
You know,
I had the same exact thing.
And a lot of people, and I've got a lot of dogs like that. That I've got in the past where, you know, that people was not liked them because they weren't just top notch. But I'd be like, oh, I've got a place for them, you know. And a lot of the times, you know, we use them for a while, and then when we get tired of them and get tired of kicking them away from our feet, I'll send them to somebody that works cattle, and they do great, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like I had a dog. That's Cody, that boy that come hunting with us from Tennessee. I had a dog I raised from a puppy. I called him Axel. I was too much of a buddy to him. Wanted him to have a good handle, and he loved me too much, and he wouldn't hunt for me. But he was finding pigs, but it was not consistently like I wanted him to, and he wasn't ranging like I wanted him to, and he just was a me too. Dog bay, he'd run in there, catch, bay, whatever. Well, Cody called me, needing a dog and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, I got one perfect for you. I said, if you walk hunt, he's going to be right there. He's going to catch pigs close. And, well, that sucker, man, I tell you, he got him, and I guess it's just me. Because when he got him, that sucker now will go get some yonder. He hunts good, you know. And, I mean, that's what somebody's trash might be somebody's treasure, you know. And that's what... That's how. Whenever I started,
a lot of our dogs is like that.
Yeah, like whenever
a lot of.
I never.
You can ask Rodney about the best dog that and he'll tell you. And it was one that I got for free. It's
for free, yeah.
Like he was like he told me, he said, this dog is not gonna put teeth on a hog. He's like, she'll find one, but she just don't go nowhere.
Yeah,
she's real close. Blah blah blah. So we take her hunting. First hunt was okay. Second hunt, like, well, she's doing really good.
Yeah.
During the second hunt, she's finding all the hogs. Everybody else is following her. Now she's 1.7, 1.3. Now she's 2 point. Now we're like, oh look, we done lost her. Now we got to go.
Yeah.
And then like a big hog running across the watch her come across the field in Florence. Bam, grab the hog, spin him, sit down, stand there, everybody. He'll move, bam, grab him, sitting there. And the guy was like, what happened?
Oh yeah.
Got another dog, same way. Dog won't go 100 yards. That son of a gun went 7 miles. Like I had to leave him. We rode around. I was like, this is the last place we picked him up, and it picked him up and dropped him again, and it was 7 miles from where we started. So we go back the next day. This is all the way up there at 7 Mile Island, as a matter of fact, up there at Foster's. So I go back, and we're unloading dogs and stuff. Here he comes.
Big ball.
I was like,
hey guys, where you were?
Yeah, where y'all been? And I'm sitting there thinking. So I called him. I was like, Keith, you said this dog where? He was like, they're telling you. He's like, I don't. I said, you send me every call you have.
Oh yeah, ain't no doubt about it.
Because all it was is they just wouldn't do it for him. Same
and sometimes those dogs, you just put them on the ground and you just don't even look at them, don't acknowledge them, and they turn around.
Right.
They turn around. You know.
Well, that was the thing with us. It's like our dogs, they either get out of here or we put them in a box. Because I have dogs that will get out, kick out, and go. And then then one time they might not. They'll go out and they'll come back. And I'll wait and see if they're going to pick it up and go. If not, I just put them up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get the leash out. I'm not going to kick him and do all that. It's like, hey, he's being a dog today.
He's being him. I mean, it is what it is. You know, that far ranging dogs, in my opinion, you know, they like to hunt, and they hunt more straight out and go look. I like those cow crosses. They work. The bird crosses. They stay close and they go left to right, because you can move a little, comb this ground. Move a little, comb.
Keoki and a pointer.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Oh, we're gonna do it.
I'm telling you.
Then I'm gonna jag with a bulldog over there.
Yeah.
But you know, that's my
I
thing.
ain't gonna say nothing, because old Worms Pop Boy, she's gonna be. I got real high hopes for her. I mean,
my thing is,
that little pup I seen. That.
I think it's just. I think everybody needs to have about 20 dogs in the yard where they know what to. Where you can have, you know, small property dogs, big property dogs, loose bay dogs. You know, the rough pack. You know, but it also all boils down to, you know, is the fact of you need to know what you've got, what you can pull. Yeah, and you need to know, like, you don't need to run, you know. Like my buddies in Oklahoma, I got some really good friends in Oklahoma, and their bay dog and my bay dog's totally different things, you know. And that's like how my buddy Keaton, we was hunting that tournament a couple years ago, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna turn my good stuff loose." He said, "Run some bay dogs." I said, "Okay, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I got some bay dogs." I had 2 puppies.
Axel was one of them.
That dog Axel, and I had a dog from Florida, and they're rough bay dogs. But I was like, that's my style of bay dog.
Yeah.
Cut them dogs loose, run off in there, and get on a group of them, and they've got the bulldogs in the trucks and they're in the side by sides, and we're sitting there, and them two puppies, I'm talking about, break strapped to them, and I was probably a 120-pound sow, and just didn't even bay. He looked at me. He goes, "Man, I thought you said they bayed." I said, "They do bay. If it's a boar hog that's whooping them back." I said, "But I said, but he they run in there and call. He's like, "I didn't even have time to use my catch dog." I said, "Well, I said, I don't know what to tell you."
We don't have catch dogs.
I said, "Let's tie this thing." I said, "Yeah, we don't."
Those are catch dogs.
Yeah.
So then we go, and we get on a really good boar hog, and we bang him 50 yards from the side by side, and we was going to send catch dogs in, but he had just one suited up. Now he's getting the other vest on because they wanted to be kind of hot, and as we was trying to get everything ready, my bay dog's running there, tried to catch him.
Yep.
Got cut down. Well, his good dog takes off with him. He calls him Billy Joe, and he runs like a mile. Well, he's one of those that he'll just bay and walk with the hog. Just bang and walk. Well,
yeah.
At that point in time, we got back in the truck, got around. He's like, "I need you to get your stag." I said, "Okay, that's fine." He said, "Will he just run in there and catch and get my dog killed?" At this time, he would do this. I said, "No, he'll bay." I said, "Then when it's time, it's like he knows he'll catch." Well, we go in there, and we're about 300 yards. We could see him walking through a pine thicket, and he looked like to be 150 pounds. I said, "Well, he's not that big." I said, "He'll be fine." So I cut that stag loose, and he ran in there, and he put the brakes on him and stopped him in a thicket. And it's the funniest. It gets really good. My buddy's got a Catahoula dog. He's rough as sin, but he's deaf. Can't hear nothing. He's deaf. So we're sitting there and we're walking, and they're baying. I'm talking about hammering. I got a video of it too, and it's so funny. I make fun of him all the time. So we're walking him in there, and he's like, "Turn my white dog loose first," and my Catahoula's gonna follow him. Man, I'm talking about turn the white dog loose, Catahoula dog to the left. And I said, "Oh no." Well, his white dog ran in there and got tangled up in some briars. When he got tangled up in the briars, that hog broke and run. When he broke and run, when we weighed him at the tournament, he was 200 without guts. So when he come blowing out of there across that pasture, he was 250, had a tail on him like that, and he was just pumping that tail running. And I said, "Oh, we need him." Well, that stag, he come running. And here we don't get to see our stags work. It's all just in the woods, thick. Well, when he come running out across that pasture, he run him down like you see them boys out there in Australia. He caught, eared him up. My buddy's bulldog gets there. We catch him, time. And this is all in a matter of probably 10, 15 minutes. Still have no clue where this deaf dog is. So we're sitting there tying this hog. Got dogs scattered out, tied up. And all of a sudden, here comes that Catahoula. 9-0. Hog's tied down. Catches up. He said, "Well, I told you he was a good catch, dog." I said, "Yeah." 20 minutes later, he just had to get downwind of
him so he could find it. He's like, "I hear you." That's
that's just that. But too, you gotta have fun when you hunt, and that's what we joke and poke. But that dog was actually a really good, when you walk in them bay, and they all run loose, real loose. Bay
I was going to say their bay dogs are not going to.
They're loose, and that's like the female I've got now. She's like that, real loose. Don't put pressure on the hog. If he walks, she walks with him.
Dog? Huh? Is it that black dog? The one you're talking about? Alex Keefe was in here a little while ago, and he was talking about. Oh, I think a black dog you had. He said it was real
legit. That I've got.
Okay.
And
she's. That's what I told him. I thought it was Brendan.
But she's real loose, But he.
Yeah, y'all just missed him. He was in here.
Really?
Yeah, probably 20, 30 minutes.
I got him.
But that's what and a lot of the times we've got big teeth here. A lot of our hogs got big teeth, but it's more of a common thing, I think. Like I know them boys out there in Oklahoma, more of a common thing because it's more of the cow pasture deal, and
Yep.
you know, so like them boys catch little toothier hogs, and we do, and that's what they run the loose bait dogs, so they don't want to pay vet bills, which I don't blame them. You know, run the 2-3 catch dogs, you know, and it's just all the. I think it's a style of the hogs that's in your area, you know, because like here, the hogs might weigh 300 and have big teeth, might weigh 300, have little teeth, but you go to Florence and they weigh 200 and have no teeth.
No teeth,
They'll have
yeah.
top grinders. It's like they bust them all off.
Yep.
And you know, and I don't think I've ever caught a big hog up there that had teeth. Never.
We caught several that were, I mean, big hogs.
Oh yeah.
And right over in Foster's place where we hunt. And what we caught a couple of decent too. We caught that one, or we caught two. Well, that first hunt that Bella dog was on, she found both of
One
them.
side, just like that one.
Yeah.
And one side was broke, but the other side was
Yeah, they had really good teeth. Like I said, I think they're just breaking them
Yeah,
off.
you want water?
broke.
I think they're just breaking them off or something.
But like
because
I know up there, like I've caught
the
some.
teeth just aren't that
Like
damn
I've
big.
caught some up there, you know. I had a dog get killed up there, and the farmer called and said, "Hey, you know, I've seen this hog in my field, and we cut loose, and at Walker Catahoula dog run off in there, struck bait, and heck, we had one caught. I mean, he probably would go, I don't know, 250 or 300." But he had no teeth. He was an old hog. He lived in the briars. He had no hair on him. He looked like an old naked mole rat. And it was one of those deals. The reason why, I mean, it ain't the reason why he got killed off, but my poor choice, and what I'm going to say is poor choice in dog power. He was one of those that, you know, he would relay if there was other hogs around, but if there wasn't another hog around, he would never. He'd just, you know, he'd just sit around. I could call him and never have to lead him or nothing. And
That's about the biggest teeth we caught. I was on my mind.
see, that's about
And
what.
that's about it. The inch and a half.
Okay, Florence.
Yeah, full. They're not going to be.
That's a 200
Inch and a half. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how.
Yeah.
But I mean, but like we went up there and caught him, no teeth. Look, he was like a dang old sow, pretty much. Well, then I should have put a lead on him, but I was like, no, we're finna go back to truck. We've been here 10 minutes. Heck, we gonna go home. Well, he strikes, runs one about 300. Well, at this time, I was running a female dog.
There's other one bigger than that one. No
That's
teeth.
how they
Yeah,
are. Up
it's
there.
crazy.
And, but that's like, and when he run up there, you know, I had a running catch dog she was a jam up dog. But I ran her, you know, running catch dog style, ran her on the ground. She'd find her own pigs, never would bark or nothing. Well, she done caught that big hog by herself, not really by herself, but she done a lot of the work. Well, we got over there to the next one, and he had about, I bet he didn't have inch cutters. And I had way too many dogs. My running catch dog, she got, you know, she was winded after catching that one hog. And that big blue dog I had that I kept for so long, he running there, and he wasn't rough. I mean, he was a loose bay dog. He'd get gritty every now and again, but I never run a cut collar on him or nothing. Because if you put cut gear on him, he wouldn't hunt. And he run in there, and when I got there, you know, when everything's happened, I had 7 or 8 dogs. Just nothing. It was being young, starting to think thought I knew everything.
Bring the yard.
And got over there,
Bring them all.
I killed
Drop
that
the
hog.
tailgate.
Killed that hog. When I looked up, you know, that I've been hunting. That was when I was hunting 4 or 5 times a week, and that blue dog was laying down in the creek, and I was like, man, I took off running. And when I got to him, I mean, his whole chest was nothing but punctures, you know. And it wasn't like, but it was all little old pin size, just everywhere, you know. And he died in my arms that night because of my stupidity and not knowing what dogs to run with what types of dogs, you know. And I feel like
Having that team together.
yeah, and that's what it all boils down to, you know.
Yeah, because if you got 2 dogs, and you listen to me very carefully, that you run together all the time, you always turn them 2 dogs loose together at the
Yes.
same time. You don't ever turn one of them loose and then not turn the other one
Oh
loose.
yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
we get into that story.
I know.
No, we didn't get to it. I was just straightening him out.
I know.
I just straightening him out.
Take on running catch dog and put him to be one walk-in dog. Yeah.
No, listen, I've done the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Done this. We all do.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the thing about it is, you said something right there in that whole scenario that 90% of people don't say, especially at your
Admit
age.
to your fault.
You said I was young and I thought I knew what I thought I knew it all. And there's so many of them, and like I said, even
Today they
myself,
won't admit to it.
hell no, they're not going to admit to it at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and I know several young guys, they got all the potential in the world if they'll slow down and just say, hey, let me listen a little bit.
I'd rather take 3, 4 dogs that work together than 6 or 7 and have too much power. Because when that board come out and go, they cannot move. They're banging into each other. You know,
You get hurt like
yeah. I mean,
and
well, now we got cut gear, but
still.
the heart of summer, you're not gonna be wearing all that cut gear.
No.
So
Well, last year when we got that, we got our whole pack just wrecked. And it was one of those deals where we just turned too many dogs loose. And anybody. And at the whole time, and I don't hardly ever vest up.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry, you know, I've got plenty of cut gear, got the best cut gear made. But very seldom do we vest all of them up. That night when we pulled up there to the gate, they was like, what are you doing? I said, we're going to vest every dog. Every single one. And we did. Yeah. Every one of them got cut up.
Yeah.
crazy. Even with the vest.
Even with the vest. I mean, and that king dog of mine had never had vest on.
Yeah.
Vested him, and it hit him right behind the vest. Just
Yeah.
spilled it all out. So, but anyway, like I said, you give them a false sense of hope. Sometimes you put that's like a good catch dog, good bulldog. I think they need to get cut a little bit of wolf. They need to know that this hurts, because if they never experienced that, then they don't know.
Well, it's like a football player. That guy always got pads, so he's tough.
Exactly,
You take off that pads,
it's a different deal.
it's a different scenario. So, you know, my dogs, I can start them out with just cut collar, you know, and as they progress, and if I know that, hey, this like a, you know, work good dog, hunts fine, you know, doing good, and need a protection, then I'm gonna put them on one Australian style, small,
right.
whatever.
Well, that's what we're starting to do.
They gotta earn it. You know what I mean? I like them to be cut first. I like them.
They need to know.
But
Oh,
old Pawpaw here,
oh.
hard headed. It took the good dogs getting wrecked down 2 or 3 times over here to finally start. Hi, you know, I'm gonna put cut gear on back.
I know. That's what I said. I started doing it now too.
Oh, Dad, he was like, nah, we ain't buying that. They got collar. They're going to be smart.
All right.
But, you know, and that's the thing. Hawaii, a lot of pigs. You catch a lot of boar hogs. You catch boar hogs all the time. Your dogs are smart to a boar hog. They know. They smell him. They know what he's going to do. They know what he's capable of.
The business is.
When you come here, probably don't need to say it, but a lot of people that say that they catch a lot of boar hogs, you know, that's all they catch. It's hard.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to say, because your dogs are going to slip up and catch sows. Personally, I don't really catch boar hogs. I'd rather catch a sow because I don't have to. I don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about.
That deal, yeah.
Pickle thing. But you know, where Dad come in Hawaii, them dogs seen boar hogs all the time. They knew what they was, so they stood back
Hunted too.
and caught. You know, did what they did. But with here, we might go 3 weeks and catch
a bunch of shows
and sows, and then that one night you single out a boar hog,
then it's bad.
You get wrecked out.
It's the same thing.
And that's what I'm afraid of now, because we got this young pack going on. We got 2 or 3 good young dogs. They're getting in there. They're hunting. They're finding with the good dogs. But when they get there,
they get on that
they're
one,
just grabbing them because sows or small boars. I mean, big boars with small teeth. And I'm thinking,
wait till they get on that
day
one.
we're going to get,
Well, that's what happened to us last year. All of them jumped it.
It's going to happen.
When we dumped out, they went like 140 or 146 or 164 yards right there. We were on top up there by the chicken houses at Mitchell's. Flat ground, beautiful. Easiest place to even get on one. We're on the side by side. We just drive right there. And by that time it was over. I mean, it was just done. The hog never ran. He was like, okay, you want to fight? Let's do it.
Yeah.
So he's fresh.
Yeah.
You got 270, 280 pounds, just want to whoop your ass. So, all right, we was talking about, we had to take a little pause for the calls. We had a train coming by. And luckily, we are right beside the train tracks. So we get to hear that some bitch every time it comes home. All right, so what we want to do is we've been going at it for a little while here now. So we want to hear a couple of these There's good stories from some of these Hawaiian hog hunts, and
No, I got some.
see how those go.
Man.
Y'all make sure y'all get your mics up close,
Oh,
scoot up so y'all can tell us.
I
Tell
tell
us
you
something good. Give me like the best.
Okay, hang
Something
on.
when you were young, back in the
Right.
20s.
Okay, no, now I was young. He was young.
Okay.
So again, on that ranch, 2,500 acres, surrounded by 40, and I mean it was prime hunting ground. At 40,000, you'll be driving up to that spot and you'll see 20, 30 pigs walking. But the cowboys on that 40,000 acres, they know, you know, they're gonna come check you out before they actually trust you, you know. But because I was a good guy, you know, they knew that I would call them, text them, hey, dogs crossed the line, whatever. So anyway, I got in really good with those boys. Well, so one night, this maybe he was 6, 7 years old. So this young boy, good rodeo family, the little boy that time, Sonny Miranda, he said, Uncle, I want to go hog hunting with you. I said, all right, you gonna go? He said, yep. He said, all right. I said, I'll come pick you up about maybe 4:35. It's gonna take a couple hours, drive up there, a couple miles to get up in there. I said, you got your own light? He said, yeah, Uncle, I got on light. I said, all right. So we go up there, and that 2,500 acres, there are 3 roads: bottom road, middle road. The middle road goes to, it was kind of like a little, had roping arenas, had guest houses,
Their
everything.
house.
So we get up there and we go to the middle road, go to the bottom road, we don't catch none, and go to the middle road. Man, dogs strike out right there by the house. Run up. My 2 dogs sounding. Oh. So I'm like, hell yeah, we got something good. We go, you can hear it. They pop along. Pow, pow, pow. I said, oh, we got on board now. So the boys said, you guys got your lights? Yeah. You got your light, son? Yeah, Dad, I got my light. Son, the boy, you got your light? They said, yeah, Uncle, I got my light. I said, all right, let's go. Got the cowboy rope. Got the cowboy rope. So we going. Now this, in Hawaii, a lot of the old Hawaiians, they never made fence lines. So they built rock walls to make their fences.
Okay.
So this boy is backed up, 2 dogs bayed up. And I get there. I said, all right, guys, you ready? Ready, let's go. So we go in there. Well, this nephew of mine, he's walking with us. He don't have a light on. So we get there and we all start to scatter. You know, try to get our position because we got to rope them, knock them down, castrate them, turn them loose. So I said, son of a boy, where you at? He said, I'm right here, Uncle. I said, turn on your light. I hear, shigga. I said, what are you doing? You know the emergency light, the one that you got to stroke to make the light? This little boy,
Shakes.
he's over there. Shigga. I said, what are you doing? Uncle, it's the only light I got. I said, you gonna get killed. I said, get back over here. He said, I'm sorry. I hear, shigga. Man, that was
That's funny.
But you know, the kid wanted to hunt, so I took him. But next time, I make sure
He had a lot.
Yeah,
He wasn't the right kind. He did have a light. Yeah.
Manual. Shigga. I was like, what is that noise? He said, Uncle, it's the only kind of light I got. And so we roped that boy, cut him, turned him back loose. I mean, you know, stuff like that with the kids, you know. And even till today, I rather. It's hard. People think that I don't like hunting with other people, but it's my pack of dogs. I got some weird ones. Where if new dogs and new people, they're real skittish. They act different. But me, I like is taking people that go really value, you know, and want to know what we're doing. You know, what's up there. You know, what kind of dogs. You know.
We used to take people all the time.
Yes,
just anybody. It didn't matter. Like, come on,
you know,
and a lot of times you get burned on it, you know.
Well, yeah,
so,
but, you know, it's part of life. But you know, I like taking like people that they live in the city or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like these girls that I take. They're friends of mine. Same thing. They're learning, and I mean, they take their family, their brother, that they straight up city folks. They flip out. You know, they're like, wow, but they love it. You know, they love it, and I like taking. You know, I would like to start doing like, you know, getting together with you and other people, like finding like veterans, you know, older guys like that maybe, you know, I'm not saying that they cannot walk, but you know, the ones that really, you know, and really fight for our country, that, you know, or older guys that, man, I just wish I could go and
do another
We
hunt
can
or
make it as easy for them.
you know, and just come with a side by side, let the dogs bear them up in an easy spot. You know, it works out. I just like doing that for folks. You
I
know?
want that kind of hunt.
I mean, you know, yeah, I like
Well,
that.
and, you know, that's the thing about it, because used to, I'd have people that are like, hey, can we go? I was like, you know, you can go. But at the same time, it's like, you need to be in good shape,
Yeah,
because I walk hunted a lot. Rough
I don't want
dogs,
to hear,
and
oh, you know,
we
my
had to
leg's
go.
sore. I cannot go no more.
Exactly.
Sorry.
That's
So,
how.
so now I'm more like you're talking about. It's like, hey, we can drive around here and
Yeah.
get close.
Yeah.
Let's
Now
get as
we
close
can,
as we
yeah.
can go. Used to, it was like 500 yards. I don't care. Up,
Yeah,
down, a
well,
mountain.
yeah,
don't
yeah.
matter. Now it's like,
We're not driving around. We went straight to them.
Yeah.
Now
like,
it's, I think I can get close if I go around with a side by
Yes.
side.
That's what Dad. We didn't have. We hunted all off the road on that ranch. The majority of the time on another, like on that. There's a road on that one on the Big Island that goes through the top side of the ranch. It's Mono Road, and you know we'd hunt it, and
We had
Dad-
a lot of. I had a lot of permission on a lot of them, and then some ranches I didn't have. But you gotta understand, the mountain comes down like this, and it's like one pie shape. So every ranch comes from the mountain down to the ocean. So you know, and only what divide them is cattle guard. So you just drive on, and that was the old highway come from the back side of the island to the front side. So it was like 26 miles. I just put my dog on the top and just rig them.
Let's go.
Just go. Or had a couple that I really liked but disliked, and
Make
I
'em run the
made
road.
them run
Mhm.
the whole way.
But I remember.
And if they don't catch, turn around, run them back, because it's going to take you some hours to get from the front to the back, and then coming back, pigs gonna be moving, so you'll catch. But I mean, you know, one time, where are you there? Oh yeah, it was me, you, and Uncle Brother. So we had on sounder. They come attacking. We yelling at her. Well, this one boar decides to run around and goes underneath my. I had a Ford Explorer, 2 dog pet porters in the back, two dogs in the back, and then seat in the back. That pig got underneath, boy. We got him pulled out, this and that. I told my buddy, I said, man, we're gonna take this sucker home. We're gonna go train dogs. Oh, put that thing in that dog pet porter. Shit.
Come on, stink.
Oh, I bet.
And I was in the back seat. They had the pleasure of having the windows down. I had to ride back there with that son of a buck tied up back there. Stank.
Like an old caravan, like a Dodge Caravan with the dog sitting in the back there.
Man, oh, Nate got that story.
But that's,
Like we took a caravan. I was like, we're in Continental, like we're riding through the bank. It's been years ago.
Hey,
We all
we all did it.
Go to the management area, open the door, kick them out, ride around in a minivan. Took all the
we only had
seats
the
out.
first 2 seats in it.
I had clips in the floor. I had little chain clips all in the floor. We had that one. We had that fucking dog in the back. We're riding around through there, and I was like, "That dog farted." And he's like, "I think so." And that dog just. And I'm talking about it wasn't. It was just a big pile of that almost
Big
yellow,
soft stuff.
big ice creamy looking. Oh my god! It was in that way. It was like, ugh. Window don't roll down.
Oh.
No, trying to open the door, driving. Oh, it was bad. I knew then. It's the end of the 18.
Oh.
The 18 van is over with, boys. I can't do this shit. But now we snagged a lot of pigs out for no longer than we had it. We were hammering them. I'm not lying. Like we were riding around. Gang one pulled up beside us one time. It was me and Jeff. We were just riding up through there. Bulldogs in there. Had 2 little Patterdales, 5 or 6 Jacks. He looks in there and he does this. He says, mm-mm. And drove off. Just like, no, this ain't real. And left us.
Hey.
All tied up in the back. Just left us. I was like, yeah, he's thinking
Yeah.
they're too stupid.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Those guys are crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby,
Hey,
tell us a story now. You was going to tell us one while ago before I interrupted you.
dang, I remember, there's 2 probably. That's probably the best ones. The first one, we took this guy hunting, my Uncle Alan, and then a guy that had what was that guy that had his leg was swelled up?
Oh, what is that? It's kind of like the disease where, you know,
Ain't got good blood flow.
their blood flow and their veins pop, you know.
And he was a big time hog hunter. That's what, that's, you know.
But he had the disease from when he was young.
And he couldn't
got
really-
older.
yeah, he couldn't really do it, so he contacted us, and Dad said, we got this spot, we can ride 4-wheelers, get to them across these pastures, and it ain't going to be a big deal. You can come hunting. Well, dogs take out, get on bayed, and him and my uncle take off running. Well, not really running, just walking to him. Well, I stayed back with this guy, and we was walking. I said, I'll just stay back with you. I said, we'll walk. I said, if you get tired, stop, rest. We'll get there. I was like, we're not going to, them dogs we can leave them there for 3 days. It don't matter. We get up through there, and I'm granted, it's all at night, pasture, just no trees. And there were some rocks and some old walls that was still there, and I see my dad, and at that time, we didn't have, the best thing we had was mag lights, the black mag lights. I don't think I ever wore a headlamp at all. We had just a mag light.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sitting there, and this guy, walking, he's having a problem getting there. So we find a tree, and we're standing there on some rocks, and there's a tree. Well, my dad and my Uncle Alan's out there trying to rope this pig out in the open, and this guy, he don't even know what to think about it. And well,
I wouldn't either.
They miss him. They miss this boar hog, and this boar hog comes running. Well, if you ever heard of I know it's people in Hawaii say all the time, a pig will run to a light and attack a light per se. Well, I'm sitting there and I'm sitting there shining this pig little. I was probably 7 or 8 years old, shining, watching this pretty decent sized boar run straight to me with big shanks hanging out of his face. And this guy's like, "Turn your light off. Turn it off." I said, "I'm not turning my light off. I'm not turning." We was arguing. He was scared to death, and I'm holding this light, and I'm just shaking. I'm like, and this pig runs. I'm talking about straight to us, spins around, and just sits down.
Dogs bam
Right underneath our feet. And I'm talking about, I could have reached down there and grabbed him by the tail and legged him, but he just sat there, and them dogs got there. Well, they rope him, and we get him tied down, and we cut him, and we turn him back. No. We kept him because that guy said, he said, I got to train some dogs at the house. Granted, this man lives in a subdivision. We drive to his house, we grab the pig, we throw it in his fenced in yard.
Fenced in yard in a subdivision.
And he said, I'm gonna work. He said, I'm gonna work my puppies. So we leave him to it. We don't talk to him. A few days later, we call him. We said, "Hey, what'd you ever do with that pig?" He said, "I just opened the gate and turned him loose." And he said there was somebody jogging up through there. And so this boar hog was running down the road and chased him.
I went in the house, just shut the door.
And so, we did stuff like that all the time. And then there was another time we was driving, hunting, and Dad I always got the short shaft for some reason. And
you're younger.
Run down there.
That's Nate.
Dog's bait down there, and the pig run uphill, and we stopped. And we used to videotape all of our hunts, and Dad had the camera out, and this hog come running. Well, as we hopped the fence, the pig's running back towards us, towards the fence. So we're sitting there, and Dad goes, "Jump on the fence, jump on the fence." Well, I jump on the fence, and the only post broke in this whole pasture. I hit the fence, and I'm just rocking back and forth like this, hanging on. Well, I'm scared to death because I said if I let go and fall, he's going to eat me up. Well, this pig runs, blows out the dog, spins around, hits the fence. When he hits the fence, he knocks the fence up and runs. And when he runs, he backs up right to the truck, or right to Dad's little red Explorer, and just backs up, and we catch him. But I was so scared. I mean, I'm not scared of a pig, but being that little on top of a fence, I'm talking about
scared of that pig.
I'm talking about scared to death. But we've had so many of them that we've had some good times hunting like that. And I wish we could do it more here like that. But it's so thick here.
On the subdivision part.
Yeah.
I will partake in this storytelling. I will not say any names because this guy's still alive and lives in the subdivision. Actually, several of them do. It started out down in South Alabama. Get nervous telling a story. It involved a bunch of stuff we were supposed to be doing. We go down there, riding down the road, interstate, booking. Hey, did you see that boar hog? Was that a boar? Yeah. Turn around. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Pull up, it's like, Jesus Christ, that's a stud. Well, you got 2059, everybody's heard of that interstate, and the median right there with all those pine trees right there before you get to the Utah exit. So we kick out the bulldog, and we catch him right there, and it's a rodeo. People's riding by honking. It's funny. We get him in the truck. We keep on and we go around to Gainesville. We go down through there, ride a couple roads, catch a couple pigs. So we're going to come on in and call it a night. Well, this guy lives in a nice subdivision right there in Northport on 43. So I was like, well, we're going to do these pigs. He's like, we'll do something with them in the morning. He's like, I'll tell you what. He said, I got them puppies. I'm going to mess with them some. He said, I'll take them to Sal's right there. Chain link fence in the backyard. We pull up. One of them's going to kick the yield tape loose. And there it goes. Hobbling around, so we're laughing. It's fun. You know, it's like, look at this. Well, at that time, the other ones got loose. Now the dogs are loose. Now we're trying to catch these hogs. They're not little. I mean, they're 150 plus. We're trying to catch these hogs 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, now that we're back home.
In the guy's yard?
In a subdivision of hundreds of people. Lights are coming on. Bulldogs come around the corner. Smash the hog. We got the first one. Screams like, oh shit. We're going to jail. Like, it's going to be bad. You know, it's like, so we're going to leave that at that. Okay, I don't know what happened after that. It's over. Another incident. Remember the training in the carport with Nick?
I wasn't there for that, but I came the next weekend.
Yeah.
All
right, we had a little pig that was playing with a bulldog in the garage. All hell broke loose, and the dogs had it up against the garage door going into the house, just baying and trying to catch these pups. Well, the door comes open. Them some bitches go in the house. So now you got a 50-pound show running through a house on hardwood floors with all these little bulldog pups running around. Dude, you talking about a fiasco. Yes. That's the kind of stuff I had to do with. I mean, it's funny. Like I said, you can do. And you know, the thing about it was, man, we would do these hunts, and when you'd show up, you never even knew who was going to be there. It was always going to be somebody new. We would pull up, we had a spot we would meet. There's going to be 6 or 7 of us, and y'all bring whatever dogs. Well, you get there, you're like, man, this place is full. No, that's just the people going hunting. We've literally had 70 people at one time. That's the most that I can recall. And I'm like,
There ain't no way.
Like, it was a line of vehicles. Just a line. I'm like, what is going on? Well, what happened was, you had one guy that invited his buddy. Hey, can I bring my cousin? Yeah. Well, his cousin brought their other 12 cousins. And then they called 2 of their friends, and they brought all their damn cousins. It was insane.
That's crazy.
And we had a good time. We had a good time, but there was no bunch of arguing and bickering and fighting. Now you might talk to him later and be like, hey, I mean, don't do all that shit. That many people, But like, there was always 10 or 12 or 15
an argument, it was a fist fight.
Yeah. If it was any kind of argument, it was a fist fight. It was just like, and honestly, nobody ever really knew it happened. It was like, you just went over there, they beat the shit out of each other.
Come back over there and they're straightening their hat,
knocking the dirt and dust off it. I mean, that's the guys that I started with. And I look on a lot of this stuff today, and it's like, man, y'all are just, you're ruining it.
Yeah.
A lot of them are ruining it. Like you said, like in Hawaii, there's a big population of hogs, and everybody there has the same motive in mind. You want to cut them, you want to make them better. This is a food source. This is all this. Everybody working together. If you catch a hog, and there's another guy over here, and he catches a hog, good.
I feel good when I cut one and I turn them loose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and now you can't go anywhere. Or if you go,
First question: did you kill him? Did you kill him?
Or you get off your property.
Yeah.
What y'all doing over there on my property?
Yeah.
Like, nobody tried to get the dogs ran over there. It's like, it's just everything has changed so much. And I feel like, doing what we're doing now, like with this podcast and the store, and we go to all these events and we're out traveling and stuff, and we have literally, we got a lot of guys together that wouldn't normally be together.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can keep it going like that, because, it's a good thing. Like I said, sitting around getting to tell stories and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, we got turkey season going on. It's kind of shut down a little bit. Not all the way, but a little.
Well, perfect time to do the podcast, in times like this, whatever, and just talk about dogs, talk about, situations, part, just things that going on, that we need to work on, or, like that one you was telling me about everybody voicing their opinion on, but so,
I think a lot of it too, y'all's generation has got more morals and respect for each other than I'll say it, my generation. Like when y'all was young, and I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time, if you take somebody hunting somewhere, the right thing to do is not hunt on that place. Yeah. If they're not there correctly, but
unless you call them or they call you,
right, and stuff like that, and I think a lot, and even with me growing up, and stuff like that, and having to deal, I've been the one that was hunting spots that nobody else wanted to hunt, but I was kind of stepping on people's feet, but I was young and didn't care. I was catching hogs. It didn't matter, But then whenever it flips to you're the one that's got the land, and then people are coming, and it's. But like in y'all's generation, there's so much more respect to where, like my generation, a lot of times, in my opinion, young punks and just like, I don't care what they think, I'm going to go catch a pig. When I feel like if there's more, I feel like if it's more of everybody coming together and hunting,
exactly,
it's going to be a lot better. But also, too, it's so cutthroat with hog land. It's so hard to get because of people doing stuff not supposed to. So I understand where people are, were reluctant to take people to your spots, and that's what's really hard, and that's like Hawaii. Hawaii doesn't really have that. Like, yeah, there's spots that you've got that you don't want people coming, but like a lot of there's public land people hunt that you can go hunt, and it's not, we don't want you over here and this and that. It's not. There is that, but it's not near as bad as like here. It can get rough here.
Yeah, it can get
and you want to be helpful. You want to be nice and let anybody come with you.
But at the same time,
you've got to watch your back.
You got to watch it, because just because that guy came out and done a good hunt with you and everything went good, he could just be waiting, buying his time, and be like, well, when he leaves, I can go back over here. I'll spotlight a deer while I'm here, or shoot a turkey out of season, or hey, I don't have a key. I'll knock the gate, or what, all that kind of shit can happen. But at the same time, a lot of it goes into how you approach it. Like you were talking about our generation, we were taught you got to give respect to get respect. You got to earn your respect as well. People should automatically respect each other to an extent.
Oh yeah, ain't a doubt about it.
Then you're going to have these other guys over here that they have disrespected everybody and themselves, so I don't have respect for them. But they think that they automatically should have the same amount of respect as the man who's been doing it for 30 years.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, land is harder to get, especially now that you got all these big timber companies more, and they keep it broke down into small sections, and you got to adjust constantly.
Well, you got to also think, like around here, like we got a lot of good hunting prime land, but we're really not doing a whole lot of damage to the population that is made. I mean, if you do the math on, one sow, how much baby sheep it gets, and you do the math, you'll be surprised on how much pigs can make in 2 years.
Yeah.
So, the whole part of, covering and not hunting with somebody, that day is going to be gone pretty soon because what going to happen? You get so much pigs. I mean,
got to work together.
and then what would happen? The state can start flying helicopters.
They're already doing it. The guy said
it's going to be miserable.
yesterday, day before yesterday, said that they were in Sullivan or Fayette shooting with helicopters.
Fayette.
Okay.
That's right around where we are.
Exactly.
You know.
Okay, so you take into that. Day before yesterday, I was up there at the farm, and I was talking with Mitchell and Mike, and that's what I told them. I was like, well, let me know when you get ready to plant. Let me know exactly when and which ones you're going to plant. And I'd already been told them. I said, guys, it's going to get. Y'all think y'all have hogs, I said, and there are pigs there.
Sure.
But like we went to Georgia the first hunt this year, 30, bam. We went down south, 20, bam. I'm talking about just.
Yeah, but see, you guys got probably got big tracks down there.
Well, no, like these are like a 2,000 acres.
Oh, okay.
That spot down there in Forkland, we never left 200 acres. We got 20. I mean, it's like just you're stepping over them. I was like, there's a lot of people. This is a population. It's going to be like that soon. Because it's getting worse and worse. So you got some of these places like back there on Triple Creek stuff. They don't want a lot of people running dogs. They don't want to do this. Don't want to do that. So guess what? When we're running them, those pigs get pressure. They're going to go over there and they're going to stay and they're going to breed and multiply. And then it's going to get so bad where they got to get somebody.
You see where Triple Creek is? There's the river in the back. The guys on the other side, they don't. There's no hog dog guys there.
Exactly.
I mean, so you got
all that
15,000 acres.
Nobody
really
does it.
No
exactly.
big time hunters. I mean, yeah, they trap it. They can trap all they want. I promise you, they're not going to damage it.
Nope.
I mean, they can tell me, oh, I caught 60 pigs in 2 weeks. I don't care. You do the math on how much acreage around there.
I went up there like first part of last year. It blew my mind. Like I was like, I know we got quite a few pigs, and I've seen some groups that were 20 plus. I was like, we pulled up on the field, just got a thermal. I set it out, looked out the window. I said, oh my God. So this can't be right. So I get it back and I look. I tell the other boys with me, my nephew, my other sons, I said, look at this. Start count. I made it to 72 before they all ran, and that was just half the field.
That's
right
crazy.
there, right there beside the highway, less than 200 yards from the highway, from 13. I made it to number 72, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're fucked. I mean, it's already too late. And that's been 2 years, going on 2 years now. So it's like. So now you take those 70.
Out of the 70, you go in half. That's 35 sows.
And now
how much litters they can have a year?
Yeah.
I mean, you do the math, I'm telling you.
They're going to have 2 at least.
Crazy.
Yeah, and everybody talks about the comparison, dog hunting, shooting them, trapping. You got to do all of it. You got to do everything.
Everybody has to.
What did you say the other day? Who went to that seminar?
One of my buddies went to it was the biannual agricultural research convention or something.
Biannual agricultural research convention. It was in Texas?
Yes, it was in
Texas.
And this was a study conducted in East Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas about
East Texas,
landowner satisfaction of hog removal services. And I believe the
dog hunting was
number one.
Dog hunting was number one.
It was either 44 or 47%.
Either 44 or 47% of the landowners were satisfied by that method of removal. Proved to be the more effective method of removal.
I'm trying to get I just texted him.
Yeah, that's what he's for y'all that can't really hear what's going on over there with Nate. He's trying to find out what all get all the schematics on it. So because I thought that was pretty interesting because everybody's always like, well, the trap. Yes, there's times where trapping is the most effective thing to get one sounder off of a property.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But now when it has multiple sounders and you've got all these hogs running in and out, then you're going to create trap shop pigs. You're going to educate them, especially and that's one thing I do have to give my hats off to on that pig breed. Like they don't really get shy of it. So I think it's because it's a net. They're so used to rooting and walking through vines and stuff. But there's no bunch of metal components. But anything that has all the metal components and all that clinking and clanging and noise, just like we were talking about earlier with the dog is barking more. There's guys that catch hogs with wide open hounds all the time.
Oh yeah.
They do it all the time. They got speed. They can get there. They got enough bottom. It might take longer, and then it also depends on the area you're in, whether those hogs even know what it is or not. But once they get wise to it, it changes everything.
Oh, ain't no doubt
I
about
mean,
it.
even those that drop traps. I mean,
Yeah.
I got guys out there on River Road that, I mean, that's what they do, and they say, man, we got cameras up, we got the traps. The pigs come up. They smart. They know.
After a couple
They,
times,
they,
it's like
they're
that's it.
educated.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, and that's fine. You know, but me, I do my research. I do my math on how much
Exactly.
sounds in the area and how much land, and everybody got to work together.
I don't see why.
Thermal.
I think
everything.
the whole thing with cutting boars, you take that away, there's one reproductive method that's done.
Well,
You know what I mean? If you made it where if they made it where it was legal for us to cut hogs
well, you try to
again,
think now. If you don't castrate them, they testosterone. They're gonna fight.
Yeah.
Breeding.
Mhm.
You cut them, it's gonna be like on steer.
Yep.
You get them pen of steers. You see them fighting. No, they like eat and get fat.
Yep.
You put them pen of boars. What they gonna do? Fight all the time.
Yep.
I mean, I would rather that single out themselves and go be fat, and then we go catch them.
That's right.
You know, I mean,
and eat.
and those big nasty boars with all those scars and pus pockets, nobody want to eat them.
Nasty, yeah.
Now you go castrate them, they ain't gonna get there because they're not gonna fight.
They're not worried about it. And they don't
They-
stay gone. They don't travel as far either. It's just like a house cat, like an old tomcat,
They will stick around.
Take all that. But like we were talking about a while ago with everybody trying to work together. And that's what I was saying a while ago with the farm up here. I was like, let me know. And if you're going to plant several spots, then I'm going to call you guys
I mean,
and ride in 2 or 3 other guys and be like, okay, hey, if y'all ain't doing nothing tonight, y'all come up here. Y'all watch this area. I'm
I
going to watch
promise
this
you,
area.
that pigs is smart.
Oh, they're there. Yeah. And because if
When
we're all
they
over
plant
here,
that night, they will be there.
2 nights. They're going to be there that first night. And if you don't get them that night, the next night, they're already done with the field moving on.
I had a place up there in Florence. It was like it was 200 acres right off the trace up there, and closer to Waterloo. And this farmer called us, and he said, "I need y'all to come down here." He said the hogs are really bad right now. They literally was planting corn, and the hogs was coming in behind them. 200 acres. They done it twice. Every row, them pigs literally walked up the row
Just right down
and
the road.
rooted every single kernel
And that
all the
was
way up.
nothing else. It looks like you took a little plow and went right
Yep.
down.
And he done it too. They done it 2 times. He called us, and we pulled up to a field. And when I've got the video, I scanned the video. You can see that there was pigs. There was probably 50 out there, but there were shoals. They were like 20 or 30 pounders, and there was one boar hog. He was like 100 pounds maybe. I sent the dogs, and they run in there, and that whole herd run off into the woods and congregated, and I bayed that whole 50
Dang.
at one time. I've got it on video. It's the wildest. It was the wildest sound you could hear, but they just balled up. And like I had dogs catch one small one like right before the woods, but the rest of the dogs kept them bayed. And then when I got them other 2 dogs pulled off and I sent everything to them, they scattered like flies.
Oh, yeah.
But the only reason why I knew it was 50 of them because they had a trap there on that place, and it was like the next day or 2 they killed everything but the big one. He didn't come in, but all the little ones they counted like 50. That they killed. They had them lined up. It was the coolest thing.
Well, that's where it's headed. Like I said, if they don't lift some restrictions off of us, and another thing is once they do that, then people as a group of hunters, they'll loosen up a little bit too.
Yeah,
because they'll be like, well, hey, especially if we had a little public land and stuff we can hunt too.
That's the big. I think that's where most of them breed.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Because you go to public land and then to go right outside of it on the private land. That's where the hogs are. Then they just run right back.
And that's what's crazy about it. I think Mississippi's. That 1 month they've got where they can run. They can run. On that public land. And that's not even enough. But
at least they got it.
But they've got
And
In that month's time, there's no telling how many pigs it's
them boys
caught.
hunt.
Oh,
They hunt
every
hard.
day.
I know quite a few of them, and
It's crazy.
they're all of them go up there, and the first weekend, they're catching anywhere from 5 to 25 a day.
Oh, yeah.
And then you stop and think about how many groups of hunters doing that.
Oh, it's
If we were to, like they do the week long deal in the Mobile Delta down south,
yeah.
but at the same time, that's the only one. Like we have way more than one management area, or one place like that, one national forest. And we can hunt some of the national forests, but you can't hunt the management because that's where everything's at.
That's right there.
Because there's no pressure there. Of course, that's where they're going to go.
Because everybody turns us on the national forest, and everything gets pushed across the road to the management.
Exactly. So,
there's a boy down there in South Mississippi, Tad Carpenter. Them boys, they hunt off of horses on that during in February, not all the time, but man, they wear them out down there.
Oh yeah.
Because they get to hunt that public land, and that's where the hogs are.
Yeah,
I
know. I got a couple buddies over in Mississippi, old Charlie and Matt and Luke. Them rascals, that's what they do. That 1 month. And they're sitting there, and they've got private land that they can hunt here and there too. But the majority, like February hits, dude, it's on. They're going to get that. They're going to have that boat.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to be getting with it. Old Matt Hines, they stay on top of them. Luke Patterson. But like I said, I don't know what the big deal is. That's the thing. Nobody can really tell us what the big deal. The big deal used to be transport.
Yeah.
The big deal for a long time was, we don't want y'all populating it, transporting hogs. Well, all the counties are populated now, boss. So now what?
Yeah.
Now what's the excuse?
And I don't see why we couldn't have the deal like Texas and Oklahoma and like Georgia that's got a market for them that you can sell. There's so much revenue that can be built up from the hogs.
Well, that's just like the vaping stuff. That little place down there in Winfield, the whole population triples at least for that week. The monetary revenue that it comes in, so those little stores down there, they sell out of everything. It's normally 4,000 to 5,000 people in that area. Now there's 15,000.
Yeah.
And so them little Dollar Generals down there are just getting wiped out. Yeah. All the beer stores, it's money hand over fist.
Oh yeah.
And it's all because of hogs, because you can do it there. Same thing in some of the other places. There's another one in Downsville. Same way, it brings monetary value. So I don't see like I said, if we could get some kind of permit here to have live hogs, get your transport permit. Look, and make it to where it cuts all the bullshit out right off the bat. Say if you want to have a holding pen or facility at your house or your property, make it $1,000 or $2,500 for that year. Make it to where not just anybody can get it. Yeah. You know how that'll go.
Oh, it'll get
out of hand. And I know that's one thing that they look at. But make it to where it's tough. Yeah. And if you get on your transport permits, make it to where they're expensive. I don't think you should have to get a transport permit for every pig myself, because that's the way you have to do in these other states.
Just get on yearly.
Yeah, just get a yearly one and say, okay, to have your transport permit, it's $500.
Exactly.
And then, like, I know Georgia, like, they have to come out and inspect your pen, look at your facility and all that stuff. Okay?
Yeah, come on,
look. I don't mind, because honestly, I'm
not
going to be doing
it out anyway.
I don't want them to get out. I want to keep
them. I'm going to build them right.
That's right.
That's what, like Tennessee, up there, Wayne County, right above Florence. A couple years ago, was loaded with hogs right across that line. Tennessee don't like you running dogs in specific counties, and Wayne County, them game wardens was hunting for dog hunters. Well, there's a few. We had some spots up there. That I'd go and cut loose, and I'm talking about you'd catch pigs. I mean, just 5 or 6 a night. And it wasn't just. But all up there, there's so much cutovers that them hogs love them cutovers. So we was hunting them, and it got so bad that we just quit because it wasn't worth the tickets and all of that. But they come in there and they come in there and come with helicopters and all this and that and shot a bunch of pigs, and they say that they wiped them out and this and that. But they cost the state money when there's people like us that'll do it for free.
We'll pay you to do
yeah.
We ain't got no sense.
Yeah. And that's what's crazy about it, But they don't. But the big guys up in the offices, they don't see that, They don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but
that's like I said, that's where the hunters as a whole come in. Because if you got enough of us together, I'm not saying y'all got to get together and have your damn little picket signs and go down there and do it. Probably wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't be a bad idea. But at the same time, if you got enough people to say, okay, this is how many pigs I caught right here in the month of January in this county with dogs. And then, this other guy says, well, I trapped this many. And then this other guy says, well, I shot this many with thermals. Okay. If you keep up with all those per county, you'll have somewhat, I ain't going to say you'll have a definite total, but you'll have some kind of a figure to go by. And that way, when you're up there and they say, well, they killed, 10,000 hogs by trapping and 8,000 by thermal. Wait a minute, hell, they killed 7,000 with dogs. All these methods work, but you got to have everybody working together.
Oh yeah,
because if you can't get everybody together to do that, then you damn sure ain't gonna be able to go hunt on public land together.
No,
that's the issue right there. That's another issue. It's like once we do try to get this stuff going, what's going to happen then? It can't be, well, you pulled up at my spot.
Yeah.
And I'm like I said, I know.
What if you get 4-ranging dogs? I mean,
exactly.
I don't care if I pull up on this spot. My dog gonna go across to the next road.
There you go. And that's the thing. It's public land. It's just like with the deer hunt, turkey hunt, and anything else. I don't see what the big deal is. We're getting into this a lot more, and I'm learning more and more. And I'm talking to more and more people who actually know how to do this. I can't fight it.
No, not by yourself.
I don't know what to do. So I have to have somebody that's in that line of work to do it. And, we need to have somebody as a representative. I understand we got dog hunters associations and all that, but we have to have us together too. Just because you have an association, that's all well and good. We don't know what they're doing either.
Yeah.
A lot of times there's not enough information being put out. So that's what we're working on right now. And hopefully pretty soon we'll have all that together, maybe by the first of summer, and we can expose that to everybody and see how many people we can get on board with all that. See how that goes. So, well, man, I appreciate y'all. It's been a pretty good episode here, and having got some good stories. Got to learn some stuff about Hawaii.
Oh yeah,
and so maybe we can get a hunt together pretty soon. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Get rid of this damn turkey season. So
cut them loose.
That's right. We appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for listening. We'll get y'all a new guest on here pretty soon. Probably won't be near as colorful as these two cats right here, but we'll get back with y'all. Thank y'all very much.